Hello and welcome to this special broadcast. We are coming to you live from Vigyan Bhavan, where the Lok Sabha elections will be announced by the Election Commission shortly. We'll get you all details, but first to the news that is just coming in the Delhi excise policy scam. The news that we are breaking for you top of the show is that Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is all set to appear before the court. If you recall, the Enforcement Directorate had challenged Kejriwal's decision to not appear and not honour the summons that were repeatedly being issued to him. Arvind Kejriwal tried to stall that process yet again, but suffered a setback yesterday. His challenge to the court order on technical grounds was negated, and now he's on his way to the court, we are told. Joining me to understand the impact of this, Ananya Bhatnagar, our legal correspondent. Rupushi Nanda tracks the Aam Aadmi Party and the Delhi government closely. Ananya, to you first. Help us understand, when Arvind Kejriwal appears in person in the court today, what is expected to happen?
Well, definitely Arvind Kejriwal had to appear before the court today after, Enforcement Directorate filed 2 complaints against him for skipping summons of the Enforcement Directorate under Section 50 of the PMLA, and very, very clearly and categorically he tried to use his remedy, the legal remedies, by the end of, in fact, the date that was coming in, and the court denied him any kind of a relief. But Arunima, let me show you around the Rouse Avenue court where Mr. Arvind Kejriwal will be appearing today, and you can see the heavy security deployment that has taken place here in order to prevent any kind of a law and order situation from happening, because we've seen that earlier also when Manish Sisodia, Sanjay Singh were actually brought to the court, there were the AAP cadres were trying to disrupt the security situation here, but today a heavy security deployment, and what we have also been told is that Mr. Kejriwal has already left from his residence. You can see the heavy police force deployed here, and very, very clearly and categorically the Delhi police and the security forces are leaving no stone unturned. But coming back to the Delhi liquor policy scam, various twists have come into this particular investigation after, in fact, the arrest of K. Kavita, who's said to be one of the key players of this particular South lobby, which had benefited from the Delhi excise policy scam. So how much of it does it play up? Whether the Enforcement Directorate would be making a move and clearly saying that, Arvind Kejriwal is somebody who has been non-cooperative, skipped almost 8 summons, and now is also dishonoring the court's order, is something that we'll have to wait and watch for. But definitely a jam-packed day at the Rouse Avenue court. The courts would be fully jam-packed, as you've seen in the other cases as well.
Right, so it's a heavy news day for us who are bringing you all the news. Rupashi Nanda, you've told us in the past that the Aam Aadmi Party's calculation is Arvind Kejriwal, the moment he appears before ED, he could be arrested. Given that calculation, given that background, what is the kind of backup plan that you are hearing from Aam Aadmi Party? What if that eventually happens? What's the Aam Aadmi Party's backup plan?
Well, Arunima, the first point that I would like to mention over here is that even till this morning, there was some confusion about whether the Chief Minister is going to appear physically before the court or not. And yesterday, while dismissing Arvind Kejriwal's plea, the court had actually said that if he wants to, then he can move the magistrate's court and ask for an exemption. So the Aam Aadmi Party's lawyers, essentially, or Kejriwal's lawyers basically decided against it, and Kejriwal himself took the decision of appearing physically before the court. And now remember, this case is not exactly the Delhi liquor scam. This case is about the Chief Minister's non-appearance before the ED despite more than 5 summons. That is the point when the ED actually moved the court. So big decision by Arvind Kejriwal not to stall things further and appear before the court. And depending upon what the court says, the Aam Aadmi Party is going to take its next step. Now remember, all our eyes are on whether ED is going to summon him next, and when the ED does that. Aam Aadmi Party does have a backup plan in place, but very few people are actually privy to it. In the immediate aftermath of his arrest, if it does happen, Chief Minister will, Kejriwal is going to continue to remain the Chief Minister.
All right, Anshul, help us understand. Enforcement Directorate has made no bones about the fact that they want to question Arvind Kejriwal, and therefore, almost 8 or 9 summons have gone to him already. Now K. Kavita is also in custody. What's the ED's plan of action?
So yes, definitely the troubles for not only K. Kavita but also for the Delhi Chief Minister seems to be increasing, because the arrest of K. Kavita actually proves the fact that there are more evidences that the Enforcement Directorate has found in their investigation, and hence they are getting they are inching closer to that arrest of Delhi Chief Minister that could happen. Now the Enforcement Directorate now wants to make sure that Delhi Chief Minister also comes and joins the investigation, so that the newfound facts that they have found, they could actually confront that with the Delhi Chief Minister. Because remember, Delhi CM is still not an accused in this entire matter. He still is a witness, and that decision on making him an accused could be taken while he's questioned, or post he's questioned as well. That is the part that the Enforcement Directorate has under the PMLA sections. But today, as finally Arvind Kejriwal is being presented in front of the court, it remains to be seen how does the court now take this case forward, and if at all the court will ask the Delhi Chief Minister to go ahead and join into the investigation. And if that happens, then definitely that is going to be a big setback for the Delhi Chief Minister. On the other hand, the Enforcement Directorate is also absolutely ready to go ahead and question the Delhi Chief Minister, because there are several new facts, and not only new facts but also the new statements that have been recorded by the by the Enforcement Directorate. That is also going to be, that is something that will be confronted with to the Delhi Chief Minister. So yes, it remains to be seen how will things eventually pan out in the courts today, but definitely the Enforcement Directorate is making its case even more stronger, and especially after the arrest of K. Kavita, it now seems like that the Enforcement Directorate is reaching closer to actually questioning the Delhi Chief Minister as well in this entire matter.
So Anshul, help me understand. Today, if the court says that Arvind Kejriwal will have to appear before the Enforcement Directorate, do we already know a date? How much time will he get? All right, Anshul, before you answer that question, just want to tell the viewers, Arvind Kejriwal has reached the court. This is the Special Enforcement Directorate Court, ED and CBI court, where he is appearing, and it's significant because this is the first time that he's presenting himself in person. Earlier, he had said that because the Delhi budget was being presented, he cannot come in person, and the court had accepted that argument. He's also not appeared before the Enforcement Directorate so far, initially saying that the order is illegal, then saying that, there are assembly elections happening in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Aam Aadmi Party is a contender and he needs to go there. Finally, Kejriwal is there in the court. Anshul, what I was asking you is, what happens from here on? Arvind Kejriwal is appearing before the court, presuming, and this is what the ED must be hoping for, that the order is in their favor. What happens then? Just before Lok Sabha elections are announced, will ED issue fresh summons to Kejriwal?
So yes, in all likelihood, if at all the court goes ahead and asks the Delhi Chief Minister to cooperate with the investigation, then in all likelihood the Enforcement Directorate will try to find an earlier date on which they can actually go ahead and question the Delhi Chief Minister, because Delhi Chief Minister skipping the summons of the Enforcement Directorate is somewhere or the other hampering the entire investigation that is being done by the Enforcement Directorate. Already 8 summons have been skipped. A time period of almost 4 to 5 months has already lapsed, and the Delhi Chief Minister has still not come out and joined into the investigation, and this is hampering them. So the Enforcement Directorate at the earliest wants to go ahead and confront the Delhi Chief Minister with the facts and the proofs of this entire case, and hence what sources within the Enforcement Directorate have told us is that they will issue summons if at all the court asks them, even if the decision goes against them or in favor of the Delhi Chief Minister, then also it remains to be seen as to how will the Enforcement Directorate go ahead with this entire investigation, because yes, there are several newfound facts, there are several incriminating evidences that the Enforcement Directorate has against the Delhi Chief Minister, and that is the reason why they are very confident, and that is the reason why they actually
I just want to put out for our viewers what Ananya, who is there in the court, is saying. Anshul, give me a moment. Ananya there inside the courtroom is now confirming that Arvind Kejriwal is inside the courtroom of ACMM of Rouse Avenue Court. So that confirmation coming in, Arvind Kejriwal now all set to face the magistrate and answer all questions. This is about how the Enforcement Directorate has challenged Arvind Kejriwal's decision to not honor the ED summons. It's a violation of Indian Penal Code as per Enforcement Directorate, and Kejriwal is there to defend himself against that charge. Anshul, sorry to have interrupted you. Hearing has begun in the court, so we will keep giving our viewers updates as and when we are getting from court. Also analyzing the situation with my colleagues. Rupashi Nanda is tracking the Aam Aadmi Party. Anshul is keeping an eye on the Enforcement Directorate.